Hello everyone and welcome back to another video provided by SVSU's Online Tutoring. My name is Joel and today we'll be continuing on with section 9.1, exponential functions. And this is part 2 of our graphs of exponential functions series. And so in part 1 we just discussed functions where, or exponential functions where we just have either the exponent just being positive, right here that you see here, or if we had the exponent being negative and how to graph those. But in this video we're going to discuss two main transformations, shifts in both the x and y axis. So right here, I guess I can start with f of x. F of x right here is just our regular exponential function. But g of x, if you notice that the exponent is being added by 1, that's a x-axis shift. And then our h of x, which has the entire output being decreased by 1, is a y-axis shift. So what I'm going to do is just to see how everything changes is just to fill out this table. So starting with f of x, when we have x equal to -2, we have 1/4, and when it's -1, it's 1/2. When it's 0, it's 1, 1 is 2, and 2 is 4. And this one, since it's going to cause a shift in our x values, right, we can expect that when we have it when x is equal to 2, so 2 raised to the -2 plus 1, I actually get 2 raised to the -1, which is 1/2. So those are the type of shifts that we can expect right there. So I'll have 1/2, and this will be 1, this will be 2, this will be 4, and this will be 8. And finally, h of x. So now, when x is equal to -2, I still have 2 to the -2, but now it's being decreased by 1. So this is really 1/4 minus 1, and that gives us -3/4. So this would be -3/4. Let's see, this is -1/2, and this would be -1. This would be 1, and then this would be 3. Pretty sure that that's all right. Let's see, so when 2 raised to the -1, that's 1/2 minus 1, yep, -1/2. 2 raised to the 0, that's actually 1, not -1, so this should be 0 right here. It's a good thing that I'm checking this. Oh, go back to my pen. That's 0. And then 2 raised to the 1, that's 2, minus 1 is 1. Yep, okay. Yeah, I think it's all good right here. Yeah, and I know that I'm right because the difference between f of x and h of x should just be 1, and it is. So I know I'm all good there. So let's take these values and just begin to graph them. So let's see. I'm gonna draw my grid in green, since that's not the color I'm using currently. So I have my x and y, and I have -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. And what's the highest that I go up to? I can go by 2s. So, let's see, 2. I'll give myself more room as well. 2, 4, 6, 8. And -2, -4, -6, and -8. Okay, so starting with h of x, or no, not h of x, f of x. At -2, we're at 1/4, so that's about here. And when it's -1, we're about here. And at 0, we're here. At 1, we're at 2. And at 2, we're up at 4. Forgot I was going by 2s for a second there, so let me Get rid of that black dot. And so if I draw the line for this, it would look like, make sure I'm at my pen here. It would look like this. Something like that. And then with g of x, when I'm at -2, it's really 1/2. And at -1, I'm at 1. At 0, I'm 2. At 1, I am 4. And at 2, I am 8. And this graph looks like this. So you can see that the exponential growth is the exact same, but everything is shifted to the left. Okay, but it's still a shift in the x-axis, but it's to the left. If it were negative, so if I had 2 to the x minus 1, everything would be shifted to the right. Okay, and finally, h of x. So when I'm at -2, it's really -3/4, so that's about right there. And at -1, it's -1/2, which is about right there. And at 0, I am at 0. And at 1, I'm at 1. And then at 2, I'm 3, so I'm like right there. And this graph would look something like this. So you can see that the difference between the black line and the blue line is just 1 unit. So, and that caused a shift in the y-axis, and it was a vertical shift downward. So you can imagine if instead I had 2 to the x plus 1, everything would be shifted up by a unit of 1. Okay, that does it for this video. In the next one, we'll go over reflections, and that will conclude it for this topic. And then once we're done with that, we'll begin talking about the natural exponential function. Okay, see you next time.